do you have a copy of the agenda to follow along, or?
Do I? Yes.
Okay, so take it away.
Okay. So this is the Monday, October 25th meeting of the Veteran Advisory Committee for the Town of Grafton. Our first item on the agenda is organization, nomination of officers. The three officers that will need nominating are the chairman, the vice chair, and the clerk.
Make a nomination.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Justin Stone as the chair.
All right.
Second.
Does that need to be seconded?
I just did it.
Or is that just, okay, so you seconded it. No discussion?
Further nominations.
I don't know how officers are.
What is going on?
This is new territory for me.
Further nominations is the next step.
Further nominations, okay. So we have one nomination for the chairperson, then we have the vice chair.
Would you want to elect the chair?
You want to elect the chair first?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Office by office.
any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of Justin as the chairperson?
Or you're going to want to do a roll call.
Oh, okay, we'll do it by roll. All right, I will do it across the screen then, starting with Bob DeToma.
Aye.
Bob DeToma's aye. Jim Gallagher,
Jim Gallagher, aye.
Lucas Remillard,
Aye.
and Sean McGavey. And then Justin, do you vote since you've been nominated?
Yep.
Okay.
Aye.
Justin? All right. All right. It's unanimous. You are the new chairperson. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Now your vice chair.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a nomination of Bob DeToma for vice chair.
Okay, so should Justin take over now that he's
Yes.
chair? Okay.
Can I get a second?
I second it.
All right.
You're muted, Sean.
So reading across the screen, Bob DeToma
Aye.
for vice chair. Aye. Lucas,
Aye.
Jim,
Jim Gallagher, aye.
Sean McVeigh. Aye. Justin, do you?
I'm not a voting member.
You're not a voting member, correct? All right. Bob DeToma, you're the vice chair.
And Justin, the last position will be clerk.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Sean McAfee as clerk.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Bob DeToma,
Aye.
Lucas, how do you say your last name?
Remillard.
Remillard. Okay.
Aye.
Jim Gallagher,
Gallagher, aye.
John McAfee. Aye. All right, Sean, you are the what do we?
The clerk.
The clerk. Sorry, thank you.
No worries. No
I was gonna say chair and it threw me off.
worries.
All right.
Do I have to practice shorthand?
No, but you're going to sit on Justin's lap.
Well, due to COVID, I think we can waive that requirement for now.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm good. I'm not taking that to vote.
Yeah. I'm sure his wife would have no problem with it though. My wife would plead for him to see it, just to see it.
Oh, geez. All right.
So, Justin, do you want me to take over the agenda, or do you want to?
Yeah, if you want to, if you're prepared for that, please do.
I wouldn't say I'm prepared, but I've definitely done this before. All right. So next item is future task, and Justin, I'll turn that over to you.
Okay. So Bob and I talked briefly about some of the items for this. What did I talk to you about, Bob, for future tasks? I can't remember. I'm sorry. I know we talked, I think Friday or Thursday, right?
Well, one of the things that we talked about was outreach.
Outreach, okay. So we had talked at our previous meeting about potential plans for outreach. Has anyone had any thoughts on outreach before I go into what I was thinking?
What
No.
well, I was gonna say, why don't you, if you want to touch on the points lightly, because I think I put myself on the agenda for outreach.
We did, okay.
Yeah,
All right, well, we'll wait to talk about outreach when we get there. So one thing coming up this holiday season, I know Veterans Inc. does a coat drive for the winter months. And with that, they also, I think, collect new socks and packages of socks and underwear, as well as winter shoes. So I was thinking of a good way to maybe get our or the group's intent or name out there. It would be to maybe start with a coat drive of some sort to help Veterans Inc. Or Project New Hope. I know Veterans Inc. usually just accepts any type of donation, and Project New Hope may have a more targeted type of outreach drive that they may need things for. And that's just some thoughts that I had. So I'd be very happy to drill down on that and like frame a plan with the group or with someone from the group if that's something that the committee thinks is a good idea. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind.
But-
That's a great idea, and I am willing to use the TV studio as the base of operations, because I certainly have tons of space, secure space, and pretty easy to get to. So if you were to set something up, you know, outside or inside, it doesn't really matter, but we could probably pull that off pretty easily.
Awesome. That sounds like a good idea.
Did we lose Lucas?
Maybe.
No, I'm still here. My camera just died.
Okay. Bob, do we want to do a spot?
Yeah, we could do a spot, yeah.
So with being a committee, are we limited at where we could do this? Like, could we also maybe ask like Stop and Shop to put a donation box there? Could we go around and ask like Target to donate something, or is this just kind of we drop it off?
We can do whatever we want until someone says, hey, you can't do that.
Mm.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the only things we can't do in local government is misappropriate funds. So, and we don't have any funds, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Question for you. A while back, when I was trying to bring a donation of food to Veterans Inc., they were not accepting donations. So do we need to like reach out to them first and make sure that they're open to this, open to open to donations? I guess is the better way of saying it.
Good.
If they, I believe they are taking donations now. I have a veteran contact who is a board member there, I think, and or he knows a board member there. So I've asked him about donations, and they are taking them. I actually just dropped off a donation of some sneakers that a veteran donated last month. So they were taking them. As far as food goes, though, I don't know. I know they're taking like clothing goods. So I don't know if food may be another issue because of either COVID or because they don't have anything anywhere to dispose of that food, like no one to give the food to or no facilities to use that food in. So I'd be happy to reach out. And if that contact is okay, I'd be happy to put you directly in contact with him. That way there's no middleman. So you have a contact at Veterans Inc. You know, should something happen to me, and I don't need to keep anything secret. I want everyone to know who is who to talk to, as well as the director at Project New Hope. I forget his last name. I think his first name is Bill. Might be Bob. I'm pretty sure yeah, no starts with a B. No starts with a B. I used to work with him directly when I worked for the Veterans Northeast Outreach Center. We coordinated donations with him. So either one of those organizations would be fantastic to help. Veterans Inc. does more with homeless veterans and homeless adult veterans. And Project New Hope does a lot with single veteran moms and dependents. So you could donate to both of them and benefit a large group of veterans and veteran families.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea before we actually agree to sign up that we talk to them first, maybe get a list of what kind of clothing items they're looking for. You know, single veteran moms might be a great thing, but if they're looking for baby clothes, then it'd be nice to, you know, throw that out and go, hey, this is what they're hurting for. So I thought we'd take a motion to reach out, or Jim, go ahead.
I'm wondering, Justin Souza, if you can make your like Rolodex available, and maybe we could do a letter to all of these different groups and introduce ourselves as to who we are and give them Justin and Bob's contact information, and then let them know that we're available in the town if there's anything that you think that the committee can do for them. So we have a presence, so we're not doing like spot checks, you know what I mean? Do you think that you could like make a list?
Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, definitely. That's something I could definitely do. I just have one question. What's a Rolodex?
Wait a minute, here you go.
Sean?
It's the season for, you know, as you just said, coat drives and donations such as that. Is there some way we can look at the, not the Grafton calendar, so to speak, to see if the high school is doing a coat drive or something else? You know, you don't want to be not necessarily stepping on someone's toes, but you don't want to be, you know, like getting in the way of something else, or maybe trying to, I don't know, maybe cause confusion or something to that effect.
You know, that's why I'm thinking if we had like listings and identified ourselves, that we could get copies of their calendars and we could be proactive going down the road instead of like, it's tough. We're talking about Veterans Day is less than 3 weeks away, you know, so it's kind of rushed and we're pretty new.
All right, Mia.
Justin, did you have something else to, I thought I saw your hand up.
I was going to say that we can try to coordinate with the different town entities, especially the school. We could send out just an announcement via the town email, letting them know that we'd like to coordinate with anyone, or we'd like to, I don't know, do we want to coordinate or do we want to just see who's doing what? Because I don't know if there's a comprehensive program, like a calendar about who's doing what, but I think if we asked maybe the municipal offices and then the school department what they're doing, if they're doing anything for this season, and then if there is anything that they're doing, maybe we could either piggyback on it or coordinate with it, or just wait until theirs is done and then or start something else. I think recon is important here, like you said, Sean. So finding out what's going on and then planning from there. If there's nothing going on, maybe we can do a coach drive or something. If there is something going on, planning accordingly.
You know, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but if we had contact information for like the VFW, for Goulet Post, and the school department, and all of these things, we could send out an introductory letter, say we're interested in doing anything from a veteran standpoint and asking them if they have anything on their calendar, or if they could keep us in mind if something comes up on the calendar where we could help some veterans in that area, something like that, you know, so that instead of doing spot checks all over the place, if we go out with a blanket letter, then we can let them contact us. So again, we'd have to go to your Rolodex, Justin. The one that's right behind your desk there.
So succinctly put, I appreciate your being sensitive, Jim. You know, thank you. So yeah, will, if I may offer, perhaps Bob and I could work on an introductory letter. And then we could float that over to the chairperson and the vice chair. Do we need to vote on approval to do that, or can we get a?
No, we do whatever we want.
Okay, so as a non-voting member, can I float a motion, or can I float a suggestion for a motion, or?
Well, before we do that, Sean, you had your hand up.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We're talking about getting our name out there. But other than public television, does the Grafton News accept and or allow, you know, public service announcements? I don't know, you know, if they would do that. And that, you know, that again, that might be one more way of, you know, not everybody, no offense meant, Bob, not everybody watches cable TV.
But that's the whole thing. You got to look at the whole media outlet.
Right.
People aren't going to know that we're here unless we let them know that we're here and what we're here for, you know? So, you know, Jen Paluzzi with the Grafton Common, with the Grafton News, with the community advocate there that services the town, and then go out to the veterans groups and the school department and things like that, announce ourselves and what our mission is.
And that's also my thought, if we could put up some donation boxes, maybe in like Stop and Shop, the CVS pharmacy, places where people go. That way they see it. Every time you see an empty box around the holidays, you know, you're always going to look and see who's doing it and what they're asking for. So that could also get us out to those other people, that just the town people that we're going to be relying on for the donations. Bob.
So first of all, Justin, just to, if we just agree to something as far as internally, I guess administrative wise, that's all we have to do. We don't have to vote on it.
Okay.
The other thing is, I like the idea of the clothing drive. And I think perhaps we could steer away from the food drive, because we talked about stepping on toes, and we don't want to step on the toes of the food bank. Because I'm fairly confident that there are any veterans in need of food support, they're getting it from the food bank currently. To go back to the clothing drive, if we're not talking in the near term, especially if we wanted to do it around the holidays, so that, you know, the town does its annual Grafton celebrates the holidays every year. So, and so one of the things that we do at the TV studio is that we have an open house, and we make the green screen available to the public so families can come in and record, you know, holiday greeting message for deployed members overseas, or even if they're just deployed halfway across the country, it doesn't really matter. But
Bob, could you just tell them what the green screen is?
yeah, I'll get there. So because we have this open house, we're automatically, the doors are open, people are coming in, and we can tie together the clothing drive. You know, come in and make your message to the deployed member overseas, and then also drop off clothing for the veterans in need. And then the green screen is basically what the people do their weather reports on the news in front of. You've all seen them, and our studio has that capability. So for years we've been doing that, and families come in and kids dance around in front of the screen and they wish Merry Christmas, and we make them a copy on a DVD and off they go. So I think it would be really cool if we tied the two things together and asked people to come and visit the studio, do their production, and bring a donation for, you know, for the veterans that are in need. And then Sean, in addition to digital media like television, I think the newspapers are probably in the same boat. They're just always looking for content. So whether or not they do a PSA like we do, I'm not quite sure. But I mean, it's fairly easy to get the contact information for the media from TA's office. I'd be willing to bet they have most of the contacts. And if they don't, it wouldn't take a whole lot of heavy lifting to talk to some people in the municipal center and get the information.
There's also the senior newsletter too.
Another thing I was going to talk about.
Senior Gazette, yeah. And I know Barbara would be very happy to run anything we ask for, so she's up for it many times. All right, great. So that, so my
Lucas,
notes.
do you have-
I was just gonna say, does Grafton have a Facebook page? 'Cause that's
Yes.
Yes, they do.
so that'd be another way to get it out there. Because I know a lot of young kids like Facebook and stuff is kind of how they get their content.
You know, the group could even float starting a Instagram or something like that too for the
Good.
millennials, and then as TikTok for the Zoomers, right?
Oh, there you go. We'll get Jen to do a TikTok
What's an
dance.
Instagram, Jonathan, Justin?
What's an Instagram?
Instagram's online
Is that
media
something
platform.
you got in your
for
Rolodex?
photos.
It's like a Pony Express rider that doesn't take any time between getting the letter and handing it to the recipient. It's
Just
immediate.
pictures, basically.
Yeah. It's the, there you go.
Nice.
Moving pictures.
We have to
But
remember who the dean of this group is.
But I also do photography on the side. So if we ever go do events, I can get photos.
Oh, awesome.
That's great.
Bob?
So I'm also one of the admins for the town's Facebook page. And I'm also one of the admins for the town's business page. So getting stuff up, Justin, would be a big deal.
Cool. Well, that,
We want to draft something, draft an introductory letter. Here's who we are. This is our mission. We're here to serve. We continue to serve, something like that.
And Justin, earlier you mentioned about working with Bob on the letter, but Bob, I don't know how you feel about this, but my suggestion would be that Justin works with Sean to draft up the letter, and then Bob, you and I can be fresh eyes on it to make sure it's all good.
okay. Hey, Sean, what are you doing tomorrow? Can you come into the office?
At what time?
I'll be there anytime after 8:30.
Until 8:30 to until when?
Until about 4 or 5.
Oh, all right, okay, then.
Until he takes you to lunch.
Yeah.
As long what's it? Yeah. Yes, short answer is yes. Weather dependent. I do have some things to do outside. So if it's not bad early, then I'll get that done. I'll see you when it starts raining.
I'll see you at 8:30 then. It's supposed to rain all day. No. Yeah, if you want to come by around lunchtime too, I could take a bit of like half hour, an hour, and do a working lunch with you if that'd be, if you want. My treat.
We'll play it by ear.
All right?
Thank you.
Yeah. That goes for any of you guys. If you ever want to stop in for lunch, I'd be happy to take you out. My way of saying thanks for doing what you're doing. Just don't come by every week, okay?
Might be a silly question, but where do you work?
Oh, I work at the, sorry, so Lucas, I'm the Veterans Service Officer for the town. So
Gotcha.
I work for the town at the
You work
town
at the
hall.
Okay, all right.
You're there just Tuesdays, Justin?
I'm in Grafton on Tuesdays, yeah. And all the other days, Mondays, I'm usually in Westboro, Tuesdays in Grafton, Wednesdays in Northborough, and Thursdays in Shrewsbury or Westboro. And then Friday, I'm in Westboro as well. Westboro is where we store all our files, so I'm usually there going through them with my part-time guy. Okay, so that, yeah, so I'll look for you tomorrow, Sean, at some point. We'll draft something up together, and then we'll send that over to Bob and Justin Stone to QC. And then we'll think about a clothing drive as we get our. All right, so the idea is then to send the introductory letter out to everyone and anyone we think may be interested, or we can get their ear and then see who's doing what as part of that, as far as like coat drives or collections for the holiday season. And then we'll plan accordingly once we get word back. And that's all I had for future tasks. So
I would say that maybe a recommendation would be if like the VFW was thinking about doing it, then we partner with them
okay.
as well. That, you know, that way we might be able to
The
show
more
the
the merrier.
benefit of our committee to those organizations as well. All right.
Bob's
so-
raising his hand.
I'm sorry.
I think Bob's got something.
Yep. Bob.
Justin Souza, so we can also send information that we want mentioned to the select board, because they
Oh, okay.
may make announcements before each select board meeting. So
But nobody watches those, so.
more people watch that than most other things in town. But yeah, we could get announcements through the select board's office, and then
Okay.
you could either do the introductory letter, or you could do the announcement about a clothing drive, or you could do anything. But they will do announcements. It's just another tool in the toolbox, so
So
to
if
speak.
we send them like a 3-page introductory letter.
I wouldn't go
they have
that
to
far.
read
Yeah.
Okay, but I get what you're saying. That would be good. That would be good.
That's only if they don't help us.
That's all right. All right.
No, if they don't help us, we send Jim Gallagher.
That's it. I'll talk to them for 45 minutes and then they'll call the meeting.
All right. Any other questions or comments on future tasks? All right. Moving next to our agenda, our next meeting is going to be Monday, the November 22nd. It's the Monday before Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll do it at 1900, 7 o'clock, unless anybody has any objections to that.
You know, if I may, maybe between now and then, can we put out an email to make sure like that we all have each other's email address? And then it might be a good idea. Everybody's got a little source, be it in a Rolodex or on their Instagram, about contacts at like newspapers, people to talk to and things like that. And maybe we could funnel those to Sean and he could start building up a listing of people that we can contact, like the VA, you know, Goulet Post, and, you know, the community advocate, and, you know, like that. Do you know Jen Paluzzi, Sean?
No.
She does the online Grafton Common, and that gets a lot of viewership, and she's always looking for stuff. But I can send you her contact information. And whatever else that I come across, I'll send it to you. But maybe everyone else could do the same thing.
And I mean, I wouldn't mind reaching out to my company. It is a DoD contracting company, so they support vets because that's their livelihood. So Bob, I'll probably get with you, make sure I'm not, or Jim as well, that I'm not breaking any rules with that, but you know, they may be able to help us maybe with donations or something like that as well.
No. It's always better to ask forgiveness than ask permission.
I'm 100% with you. As long as I don't go to jail, that's always my concern at the very beginning.
Well, you know, as chairman,
Exactly.
you're the first one gone.
Exactly. I kind of got thrown into this. So, you know, it's my thing. You take over a new unit and it's always like, okay, what's going to make me not what's going to make me go to jail? I want to stay away from that. Everything else is a game.
And, just to make a distinction between the Justins, I was thinking maybe we should like use Justin and then the first initial, the last name, so we know which one.
Yeah, that's not
Can you
Stone
explain
and
that to
Sousa.
Sean?
Y'all can also call me Stony if that would. I mean, that's what I was always called growing up in the military. So
And everyone called me Sousa, so.
there you
Although-
go. We could just go last names.
Your Excellency is always preferred, so.
Oh, well,
What did
thank
you
you
say,
for,
Justin, that they called
offering
you?
that up to me. So I appreciate it.
Yes, Your
Justin
Excellency.
Sousa, what was- Justin Sousa, I didn't get your nickname.
I'm sorry. Oh, people just call me Sousa, my last name.
Sousa?
Yeah.
People usually called me an asset. I was at a meeting and I was walking out and I heard someone say behind me, that Gallagher's a real asset. I'm sure that's what they said.
An asset, yeah.
I'm
Yes.
pretty positive that's what they said.
Invaluable.
That's it. That's what it
Okay.
was.
All right. So the next item on our agenda is outreach plans. Bob, I will turn it over to you, sir.
Okay, yep. So the other day I walked down to the senior center and I talked to Barbara Connolly, the aforementioned Barbara Connolly, and told her about our committee and asked her what her opinion was reaching out to veterans that might frequent the senior center who might not interact with Justin. So she recommended that the best thing to do right off the bat would be to use the senior center newsletter, which she referred to as the Bible. And she said that when it comes out even a day late, they all call her and ask where it is. So they do rely on it. And she informed me that if we were to get something, an introductory letter or something else in her hands by November 12th, it would make the next edition. And she recommended that whatever we choose to do as far as meeting with seniors who are veterans, she said, if you say you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, be there. That was her recommendation. Don't leave people hanging high and dry. So so she's willing, ready, and able to help us out. All we have to do is get something in her hands, and she'll be happy to work with us.
So if we, so Bob, you mentioned earlier that as long as we all agree, we don't have to do a motion.
For simple
So
paperwork.
well, yeah. So as far as getting something together, I think the introductory letter that Sousa and Sean are going to work on will probably be good for the first thing. But during the last meeting, we were talking about a bunch of, maybe it was just like VA benefits that they might not know about or other things that we could help them on. So we're not overwhelming Sean. Can we just say like, hey, Jim, I'd like for you to do that if something comes up during the month. So we're not waiting for the meetings, or do we need to wait for the meeting to decide on what goes out?
No, we do whatever we want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. You could even ask for a volunteer.
Well, that was going to be the next thing. So would anybody want to volunteer to take on the senior center newsletter and pushing out information that way?
But I think if we do that introductory letter, I think that's the thing that we want to get in the senior center notice. And then we can do spot announcements from there forward once we've introduced the group.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on what the spot announcements could be? Do we want to throw out information? Or do we just want to say, hey, Veterans Day is coming up?
Well, by the time they get it, Veterans Day will be over. The
Right.
mission that you had, Bob DeToma, the language in the mission that you have there, verbiage could probably be part of it. I think we should be named as well, so people know if they may know Lucas and not know me, and they may say, oh, I had a question, so I know Lucas, I can give him a call, things like that.
You mean the committee charge? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
So Susan, Sean, do you think you could do an introductory letter that will cover both the donations and the senior center? Like a one-stop shop, or do y'all think that it should be two?
I'm of the mind, I think the introductory letter should be separate from an announcement of, hey, we're doing a coat drive or whatever it is we may be doing.
Okay.
You don't
Alright.
want what would the important piece to become the white noise that they don't hear.
Jim, did you have your hand up or?
No, I'm leaning, sorry.
Okay.
I just blurred in anyway, so.
Well, I can't see because the reflection off your glasses.
Well, those for you too. Honest to God, I'm gonna get off this committee.
Right. Do a motion to keep you here forever.
No, then I'll sick my wife on you.
Seconded.
So,
What? That they want to try to keep me on forever as punishment. Yeah. Yeah. They want to keep me on forever as punishment. Tell them they can't have. Tell them they can't do it.
yeah, we'll take them out of your hair for you.
Thinking.
Oh,
All right.
All right. So, Susan, Sean, if y'all can also work on that other letter and then get it up. And then, did anybody want to volunteer to take on the senior center newsletter?
I feel like we're gonna cover both the base, cover that with the other, so I'll work on it and we go from there.
Well, once we get the letter, I don't want, a certain, just like one person or two people doing all the work. So, and
Okay.
my thought is, Jim, since you were here during the last meeting, that you'd be a good candidate because you were part of the conversation for everything we were looking to get out. Would you be
I'm
willing
available in any capacity that you want to use me, absolutely.
Okay, great. All right, so yeah, once we get the letter out, then I'll reach out and we'll press forward. Any other comments on the outreach plans?
No, again, I think it's important that we give Sean the contacts that we know of for publicity and things like that, that we give those to Sean so he can build himself a database. So if we do have like here's what we're planning for the new year, you may want to do a letter and he can distribute it and we'll get some publication.
Okay. I like that. All right, next up on the agenda is flag marshal. I'll turn it over to you, Sean.
The reason I asked about this is that years ago, Charlie Bolak was the gentleman that went around town and made sure, the flags were at half-mast or flags were on the poles when they're supposed to be and such as that. And since he is no longer with us, I don't know that the town has a flag marshal, and I'm not sure if that falls under our purview or is that part of the trustees of the Soldiers and Sailors Monument.
Justin.
Typically, the veteran service officer is responsible for letting the municipal offices know. As far as private citizens, we don't have any real authority to tell them, lower their flag. We can make them aware of. Usually, what ends up happening is there's an email list that the fire, police, and school are signed up for, as well as the municipal center. So whenever there's a half-staff notification, that goes out. They all see it. They all lower their flags. if the advisory board wanted to take on something like that with the town, what I would suggest is maybe having a card that they could leave showing, or that they could give to someone if they engage in a discourse with the person. But I don't know if that's something that the members want to address. This was just a suggestion, but something with that email list where the person with the flagpole could sign up so they get the staff notifications. One reason being because, like, I'm not only in charge of Grafton, I'm in charge of 4 other towns. So to go around and make sure that all the flags are lowered physically is just not a realistic expectation. Likewise, you all have, well, except for your retirees there, you all have other responsibilities to your work that may prevent you from, going around and doing that. But I don't want to say not to, obviously, if that's something someone wants to take on, by all means. So as far as the municipal offices go, that usually falls under my my office to make sure that the town buildings are all set, and they seem to be doing a pretty good job. If you notice anyone that is not, or any building that does not have a flag lowered that's a municipal entity, please let me know and I'll make sure I rectify that.
Jim?
I just think, your reference to Bolak there, that was one of the things that he used to do that really pissed me off. I think what Justin does is what needs to be done as far as the municipal and the schools and things like that. That needs to be done. But when you start sticking your face in a neighbor's face and saying, your flag is wrong, I think that loses you more points than it gains for you. So, I mean, Bolak used to do it because Bolak was Bolak. But I think all we're really concerned about is like if we go by Quinsigamond Corner, and we should have a flag at half staff for General Colin Powell, and it's not, that's something that we'd want to make a call about. But if someone's backyard, if they didn't lower their flag, I think that's their business.
So
John?
you brought it right full circle, Jim. That's actually what I was that's not what I was looking for. I was really actually trying to find out just what Justin Souza said. In other words, who is the person that contacts the town's offices or whatever to say, hey, this happened and this is how, whatever. And also to your point about, when we see a memorial, whatever, that's a whole nother animal, so I got my flag police question answered.
All right.
But Jim, I thought you and Charlie went to the same school.
No, I dated.
All right. Next topic is also yours, Sean, the Polis Home Monument.
I do believe when at the selectmen's meeting, when we were being appointed, there was a conversation about the Polish Home donating the memorial that they have out in front. And I believe the select board was going to, take it under advisement or whatever they do, or maybe make a committee to see where they could locate it and how can they accept it, where can they locate it, and then the logistics of obviously getting it moved and set up and such as that. So again, I don't know if is that under our purview, or that's the Soldiers and Sailors Committee or trustees to take care of, and or the town. Go ahead, Jim.
I 2 parts to answer to the question. The town has to officially accept that monument. And then once they accept it, they will make arrangements, probably with the DPW, to move it. And it sounds like it's going to go right down the street in South Grafton. And then once it's in place, I would suggest that it would probably be the Soldiers and Sailors monument to make sure that it's not defaced and things like that. But as far as accepting it, moving it, or anything like that, that's got to be the town.
Okay.
Has anybody heard, does it come back up for vote or anything like that? Susan?
I have an email from August 6th showing that Evan Brassard, the town administrator, was made aware of the offer and is looking to get it before the board. I don't know where that stands, so I'd be happy to follow up with him. I also have a letter from a gentleman named Joe Curtis, who has
Want me to take care of that? Shut up.
Justin, Joe Curris is the head of the Polish club down there in South Grafton. And he's the one that put together the deal because that's, there's going to be a lot of changes in that building and so forth. And he wanted to make sure that the monument was cared for. So he's the one is the contact for the actual move of the monument.
Oh, okay. So he wrote a letter to, it looks like the board members, and sent that over to a few of the town offices. And see, I'm in a meeting, so please be quiet, okay? Thank you. He sent that over to the board of the town administrator and a few other departments.
I love the belly laugh.
So I don't know where that stands, but I'd be happy to volunteer to check that on that.
Okay.
And Susan, if you run out of time, I can do that for you too.
Okay.
And mine is curiosity. Just, I was thinking whenever we were stood up, that was what, 2 months ago. So it's kind of a long time. So just making sure that it doesn't get dropped. But I agree with Jim that to me seems like it'd fall more under the soldiers and sailors memorials.
Yeah, I think that would be a memorial trustees question as well. But I'm happy to follow up on it too, just so the advisory board is aware of what's going on with it.
I appreciate it. And then that's a good segue into our last agenda topic, the Trustees of Soldiers and Sailors Memorial. Here's just a group discussion. I think it was just following up on the discussion that we had last time about them. In particular, do they have the right people on the board to continue their work, or is there an issue there? And what should our committee look to do? Is there anything that we could do to help that situation along? Bob?
So I'll just jump in because I'm the only member of this committee who was originally appointed to the other committee. And my understanding is the current makeup is myself as the civilian and 2 senior citizen veterans. And so essentially the committee can't form a quorum with only the 3 members. And because I believe it has to be a minimum of 5. And the other 2 existing members are not going to do Zoom, have never heard of Instagram.
They both have Rolodexes though.
Their Rolodexes are quite extensive. So I would think that the number one task for that committee or for this committee to assist with is recruitment of new members to add on to the existing members. But I don't even know if that falls under our purview or if that's something we have to bring attention to the town administrator, Justin, Susan. So yeah, it's troubling because this topic of the Polish Homes Memorial definitely fits into their wheelhouse, and sadly, because there's the inability to get a quorum, if anything was to happen and needed immediate attention, that attention isn't going to be forthcoming. Is that a fair assessment, Justin?
Right on the nose.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if how much interest there will be if we put it out. But we could piggyback. That could be a future task. We could piggyback with the introductory letter and the donation drive. We could also put out that the trustees is looking for members to run for positions. I'm of the opinion that the town would probably select me to oversee any type of reconstitution drive. So if Sam, stop, please. I'm on a meeting, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, that's gonna work, yeah.
If she actually stopped, she's very good at listening right now. Thankfully, I don't know what I did, but I think I would probably be selected by the town since it's a veteran-related thing as the veterans officer to be like the town liaison for that. So I've been thinking about it. I think maybe just a media blast to start with to see if there's any interest from that. And if there is any interest from that, maybe we can dig into the local veteran areas that we know, like the VFW and the Legion, to see if we can find some members, as well as any of the board members on the advisory board, if you want to be part of the trustees. Technically, you are supposed to run for election, but if there's a vacancy or if there's no one who runs for election, the town board of selectmen is allowed to appoint people. So we could probably reconstitute the board rather quickly if we had enough interest. And then I don't know if they would run for election again, or if there was no further interest, they could be reappointed. That's what happened in the past. And town council has said that that's what has been happening. That's probably what's going to continue happening if there's no more interest shown than has been shown in the past.
So I do think that we need to get in touch with the town first, because Bob, I don't know if you remember, I actually got selected on this board because back in June, I applied for the Soldiers and Sailors Memorials, and I was on, they had me up and they were like, well, no, we've already got them full. And we don't want to, tell somebody that they're not on the board anymore, because I guess that when that came up, then there was a big ruckus with that too. So I think we need to go to the city council first and talk to them and find out if we can find other people. Would they be willing to hold an election or do whatever needs to be done to replace the people on the memorials committee right now?
Justin
Tony,
Souza.
I had the same situation that you did. All right, and I had applied initially with that as well, and I had the same outcome. And I'm curious, given the fact that the select board is the appointing people for that committee, this committee as well, if they may want to then consider, because we can go up to 15, absorbing the two into one committee, that certainly would be on their purview. The two folks that Bob talked to would really be pissed off, but shaking your head, what?
Yeah, because you have to have both committees and they have to be separate, I believe.
I was going to say the memorials committee, I remember from that meeting, it's a specific state requirement. So it's got different rules.
Oh, that's right.
Than we
You're
do.
right.
And so I don't know how we, I agree that, I think if we were to have maybe a lot of the people on the board also be in our committee, also on the board for the memorials committee, then you could probably get away with, okay, we're going to do the meetings at the same time, but I don't know if combining them would, if that can work. Sean?
I'm assuming, because Bob had mentioned something at our last meeting, he knows the members of that group, or we can get their names and phone numbers. Justin, what if you were to get the phone numbers, give them a call and say, hey, I'm gonna be in the office Tuesday, whatever. Would you folks be able to come by and let's have tea and crumpets and talk about, where you're at and what you're doing. I'm kind of the mind that, well, I feel like we should maybe ask, hey guys, what's going on? As opposed to saying, hey, listen, guys, you're not doing your job. You gotta go. And I also feel like the select board was probably thinking that way because they're constantly saying we need more volunteers. And in today's climate, if they were to give someone the boot, it would be misinterpreted. And then people are going to say, well, why should I step up? Look what they just did to this old guy or whatever. So I see both sides of it, but I think maybe if Justin Sousa would maybe be able to make a couple of phone calls, ask him to come over for tea or coffee, and we go from there.
Tea and
Did you also have
crumpets, you
something
know
you
that
wanted
we
to say?
won the Revolutionary War, right, Sean? So they can come over for coffee and donuts.
Yes, but some of those old veterans might have been based over in England, and they may have picked up that.
I'm one of them. I've been based in England 6.5 years. Bob?
Jägerbomb and Jägerschnitzel.
So I'm of the mindset that Justin Souza and I should go and talk to the town administrator again. Would you like to do that first thing in the morning, Sean? Justin?
Talk to who?
I think you and I should probably
Evan.
go and talk to the town administrator again.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I think, Sean, in answer to your point, we're not going to boot off an 88-year-old Army Ranger and the other gentleman, I don't remember what service he was in.
Vietnam veteran and Korean era veteran. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could probably get help from the select board or the town administrator and add people onto the committee, and that would be a lot less of a heavy lift than trying to get people off the committee.
You mean adding them onto this committee? Oh, I'm sorry, Lucas. I talked right over you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I gotta hop off. I gotta call my tonight's actually my daughter's birthday and she's about to go to bed, and I want to call her before she goes to bed. So
Okay.
Lucas, before you get off, have you been in
Yep.
town your whole life?
no, I actually just moved here April when I got married.
Okay, I was just curious because I coached a Remoulade in Little League a century ago.
Oh, really?
I was
Yeah,
wondering
no,
if it was you. No?
I was Webster and Douglas. That's where I kind of grew up.
Okay. All
So,
right.
but it was nice
Happy
meeting you.
birthday.
I will definitely be on the November 22nd, right? 7 p.m.
Yes. Yep. We'll send out an
Alright,
invite.
You
and,
gentlemen have a okay.
you too. Tell
All
your
right, have
daughter
a good
happy
night, guys.
birthday.
All right, thanks.
Peace
Bye.
out.
Bye.
Bob, I agree to your point. I don't think one of the first orders of business we want to do is get people kicked off of another board. It's not going to look good for us. But at the same time, I think that the selectmen, the select board, they probably have some different tools at their disposal. My thought is, can they call a vote? And then that way we can go out and we could ask for volunteers and stuff. And then we actually have it, an election or however they want to do it.
Yeah. To Sean's point, if we're fully staffed, so to speak, and we don't do our job, then shame on us. But the other committee, perhaps through no fault of their own, like I said, can't form a quorum. So they can't do any business. So you can't punish them and say, get out. So adding new members so that they can function as a committee, in my opinion, is the way to go.
Sean?
I thought in the very beginning, when we first sent the letters in to get appointed to that group, it was part of the reason we were denied was the fact that I think they could
They
only
can't
have
add people.
5 people.
Yeah.
On it. Then they tried to, legally look to some way of expanding it, and they couldn't expand it. And I thought that that's part of the reason why they said, well, let's get this advisory committee going, and then maybe later on we segue into it.
Yeah, but since the events of that evening, I think things have changed. And I think the membership on the other committee was, I don't think the count of the membership was accurate. So I think that's how the whole thing got jumbled up in the first place. So
Okay.
They've just been rubber stamping the recertifications on June 30th, you know? So that's, I mean, shame on them.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
and the
so-
other thing is, with Zoom, I think you can call telephones from Zoom as well. So it's, if Bob, if you set up the Zoom so we can record it, but then you can call those members where they just answer the phone. Like, is there another way that maybe we can get a quorum working with the technology that we have?
I can find out the answer to that, because I mean, just looking at the controls on the screen here in front of me, I don't see a calling out function. So
Yeah, I think it's under, if I screw this up, I'll log back in, but oh no, that's just an invite.
It may be difficult for them to utilize the phones. Many of them wear hearing aids. And that, I mean, it's worth a shot. But I know just talking with them in person sometimes has been not troublesome, but have to repeat ourselves. So phone call. I think maybe a conversation like Sean said, of just, hey, where you at? This trustees isn't really doing what it's supposed to be doing, but we have the advisory board now. If you want to be involved in town, maybe be better served. Maybe you better serve the town by being on the advisory board, and let newer members who haven't had the opportunity to work on the trustees be part of the trustees and get a taste for that. And with their spot on the advisory board, they can meet with us when they want and take on what tasks they want. They're not mandated to do anything, whereas the trustees is mandated to do things by state law. So, it's more work on the trustees, I think, than it's going to be on the advisory board. So I don't know. I think maybe that would be that's kind of what Bob and I had worked on or worked towards before the advisory board was stood up. So I think maybe touching base with Evan again and just seeing what the town administrator thinks might be a good idea.
yeah. So if you want to do that first thing in the morning before you have tea and crumpets with Sean, that works for me.
Okay. Want me to stop by the TV station when I get there, or just give you a call?
No, I'll just meet you at the town hall.
Okay. I probably won't be there till 9.
Yeah, that's fine.
I had that
Time's already
8:30
changing.
appointment with you tomorrow, Souza, to work on my filing.
Okay. What
on
time?
mustard balls.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wait, there's not much more we can do, is there?
No, wait.
Just sit and hurry up and wait. I mean, if you want to come and hurry up and wait, just bring some tea and crumpets with you, or some coffee and donuts.
No, that's Sean.
Yeah, all right, you bring some coffee and donuts for it.
Yeah, red coat.
Okay.
All
Does that
right.
sound like a good idea, Stoney?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think that's good. Definitely don't want to step on any toes. And
Yeah. This has got to be kids' gloves.
Yeah.
To start with.
and ultimately, if it is that they're going to stay doing what they do, then, can we take over peripheral responsibilities? Like at least making sure that the monuments are good, maybe the Polish Home Monument, it got set up correctly and stuff like that, like not do their functions where they need a vote, but we can still make sure that the monuments and memorials are taken care of.
Agreed.
At
Frankly,
least until June. And then I agree with Jim. Ultimately, the select board needs to stop rubber stamping it if they've got a problem with it. And that would be the time where you can legally step on toes and it's okay. So, but I think that's their call.
so
Sean,
Justin,
could you just put that in the minutes? Make sure you put in the minutes that Stoney agreed with me.
We'll
So
save it for posterity.
Justin Souza, so do you have something you need to do first thing in the morning and you want to just reach out to me when you're free?
Yeah,
Okay.
I usually have to get my phone calls, my voicemail out of the way, or it fills up real
Okay.
quick during the day. So,
All right, so
let
just
me-
alert me when you're ready.
okay, we'll do. It'll probably be right around 9 o'clock, maybe a little sooner if I can. I don't have too many. I had like 15 over the weekend. I don't know who calls my office on the weekend, but people with me.
That was Jim.
That was Jim. Well, there were three hangups.
Sometimes
So.
I call like that.
Oh, all right. That makes sense. Okay. Okay.
So that concludes the portion of the agenda that was written out. Is there anything else that anybody would like to bring up?
I will bring something up.
Yes.
So apparently, after our first meeting, some local residents dubbed the Veterans Advisory Committee as an enthusiastic group.
A lot of
we-
flag waving going on there.
No, just enthusiastic, just full of
Oh.
energy, ready to take on new tasks, and so.
Sean, can you make sure that's in the minutes? I need to show my wife that I'm enthusiastic.
Oh, I'm not going to touch that.
Well, we all know you're
That's what she
very,
said too. I don't know what she meant.
we all know you're very proficient in your 3-finger salutes. All right.
Motion to
Anything
adjourn.
else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Well, actually, so I've got a couple of questions. So do I need to start attending the select board meetings now as chair?
Nope.
Okay.
no.
No, if there was a topic that we as a committee felt really, really strongly about, then you and I could ask permission to attend and address it to them and bring them
Okay.
on board. But I think that the topic that we've already discussed, I think Justin and I can handle it. And, I think we're pretty good at that level. If it needs to get escalated or if something more important comes along, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So, yeah, you don't have to start attending meetings.
And Stoney, you can go on the town website for the select board, and that's where they publish their agenda. If you wanted to just have a quick look-see as to what's coming up on Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, I need to do that then. I'll check that out after we get off today.
I think you can actually set up like a RSS email when they post a new agenda. You can be notified.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was going to be my next question, was getting that stuff. And then the last thing that I've got is if y'all need any help, if anything comes up, shoot me an email. Give me I don't know if I don't think I have your phone numbers. I think I only have email. So once we get going a little bit further, then we'll get everybody's phone numbers and emails, and that way we can stay in touch. But I know that we are limited to some of the things that we talk about outside of the meeting. But if something else happens, please reach out and we'll do what we can do.
I've obviously got everybody's email because I sent out the invitation. So what I'll do is I'll just compile the list and attach my phone number to it, and then send it off to Sean, and then he can take it from there. And
Yeah, that works.
and we should be okay for the next meeting. So
Yeah. All right.
Motion to
Great.
adjourn.
Second,
All right. Do I need to take roll call for that?
yep.
Yeah.
But there's no discussion on a motion to adjourn.
I'll start.
Bob
Aye.
McCombs? Jim Gallagher,
Aye, Gallagher, aye.
Sean McVeigh,
Sean, I.
and I agree too. All right, meeting is adjourned.